I had to be a custodian, not an owner. Because the owner has that sense of not just possession, but also a way of doing things. But to be a custodian, you're not alone. Not just your language changes, your whole being and becoming go through a shift because now you don't feel fatigued.
I remember when I first went to Madhuban, I really felt this is the most beautiful place on earth.
The trees speak to you. They tell you, don't cut me because I'm holding the hill. The birds would chirp and say, don't create big glass windows. This is part of my path to fly.
I heard you speak about the word harmony several times. Harmony, Sri Aurobindo in the Life Divine also says, is the ultimate aim. All problems of humanity are essentially problems of harmony. What is harmony and why is it so important?
Harmony is also an act of balancing. It comes with a lot of humility. And as Tara Didi once told me, is काम में अगर आए हो तो स्वाहा होना पड़ेगा. It's like a phoenix. You have to go into the ashes. And the phoenix who comes out may not be you. It'll have some essence of you, but it'll be a different. So this whole aspect of transformation and this aspect of something higher comes only when I find time to know who I am, to discover myself, not through the lenses of what society has told me.
Today we have with us somebody who has been an instrument of birthing a place that truly, for me, in my personal experience, felt like the most beautiful, sacred place on earth. We have the former director, Dr. Anju Khanna, of the Madhuban branch of Sri Aurobindo Ashram. She is somebody who at once is a karma yogi full of action and drive and perseverance. On the other hand, carries within herself a deep sense of sacredness, harmony and beauty. She's somebody who's lived an extremely full life, worked with the ashram, volunteered with the ashram, has 3 happily settled children, a very loving husband, a very, very full life, but a life at its center focused on service and contribution to something higher. So with that, I welcome you to the Purnam Podcast. Thank you for being with us, Anjali. I want to begin with asking, rather holding the space for you to share about your journey of something like Madhuban getting created. Of course, Madhuban has several dimensions, and we're going to talk about all those different dimensions. And then, of course, I want to talk about your life as a seeker, as a sadhak, as a practitioner of Mother and Sri Aurobindo's yoga. But the reason why I first and foremost want to talk about Madhuban is because my first encounter with you, my first impression, the first time that I really came in touch with you was in many ways through Madhuban. And I remember when I first went to Madhuban, I really felt that, and I'm not just saying it for the sake of praising or for the sake of saying it, I really felt this is the most beautiful place on earth. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm well aware that Mother, as much as she's discouraged speaking bad about people, she's also discouraged unnecessary exaggerations. But I really, really felt it. The beauty in Madhuban, the flowers in Madhuban, for me it was like a gush of beauty, very concrete, very physical, that without any lecture, without anybody teaching you anything, just by being in that atmosphere made me feel closer to Krishna, who Sri Aurobindo says is the eternal personality of love and Ananda. And the second time I visited Madhuban, That time I visited the monks' retreat as well as Madhuban. And I felt like, he symbolically, Madhuban is really at the heart of India. If you look at Indian map, it's a little bit like a person, a being. And Madhuban is placed right at its heart. And I felt like maybe it is the psychic being of India, because it's also very close to the place that Sri Aurobindo called it as integral yoga's foothold in the Himalayas.
His foothold
He's
in the Himalayas.
So you've been a channel, an instrument of making something like Madhuban happen. I want you to share a little bit about that journey of how Madhuban came about, and also your personal journey of how did you cultivate this sacred sense of beauty? And how did Madhuban cultivate this sort of an atmosphere, this sacred sense of beauty, which is not just decoration or ornamental, but really like a living presence?
Thank you for being an observer of beauty. Because it really lies not just in the outside domain, but also in your eye. The eye of a seeker connecting to beauty. When I came to Madhuban, there was already beauty. It was a land of deep tapasya. It was not beauty in its outer ecology. There was something that was holding the space, like an area which has been chosen, which has been selected, not just for its outer infrastructure, but there was something, as Mother would say, it was there in the inner part. So it was not just beauty for the beholder's eye. That is a very Western metaphor. Very Keatsian, picturesque space. That too is important. But look at the journey of Sri Aurobindo from the West to the East. The East also holds something which is sacred within. Is the bhava within. Yes, it was an untouched. And the first time I entered, it was almost as sacred as a monastery space. So not in its outer fringes, but there was some depth to it. And of course, there was also Tara Didi, who's been a big instrument, having worked with Mother for the flowers. So I think if I look at Madhuban, it holds within it not just an outer cloak of being the first beekeeping space, but it also holds within as a karma bhumi for life to unfold. The architects really worked for free, de bono. Both Parag Varikar and Nilanjan Bhawal are renowned artists, renowned architects. And when we sat in a meeting to understand what is the one vision we have for Madhuban, I think the spontaneous sharing with them was Mother in Japan. Because Mother also, from France to Japan, I think it holds the essence of something which is beautiful, but not dry, not curated. And if you are in Madhuban for as long as all of us have been, the trees speak to you. They tell you, don't cut me, because I'm holding the hill. The birds would chirp and say, don't create big glass windows. This is part of my path to fly. So those little listening ability, not just in me, but the whole community which was around Madhuban.
Right.
So it is that rhythm of harmony in the workforce, in the discipline, that went beyond the curation. And it is also, as you said, it is in the foothold of the master. It is part of that. And also it is in the valley of divine love. Pomegranates used to grow here in this valley. They're fruit orchards. So it's a whole ecosystem of nature's abundance. It's raw. It's present. But it's also an inspiration. And we were building this as a center for spiritual retreats. So when you talk of a spiritual retreat, you don't build housing. You build places of reverence. Places where you can pause. Where sometimes the quietude is equally important. What is it but beauty? So an extension of the physical into the psychic. You use that term. But the psychic without the physical and the physical without the psychic. But it's not a mental space, for sure. But it has a lot of deep thought of what we don't want in Madhuban. It's grace. It's just pure joy and the privilege that some of us were given. That is Madhuban.
What you spoke about listening, in the very beginning, when you distinguished between, it's not just about outer beauty, it's the inner atmosphere, almost like an atmosphere of a monastery. I was about to ask you this question, many people listening to this podcast, they may be like, but it is the outer beauty, how do you know that it is something inner? And then when you spoke about listening, I feel you answered that question, that ability to listen, and also what you spoke about, what not to do, the clarity of what we don't want here. And that aspiration of wanting to create something with great reverence. The meditation hall in Madhuban, I feel an absolute marvel in itself. The first time I sat there, I was in absolute wonderment and awe. Just, how did somebody think of something like that? You're sitting in infinity because you've cut it out from three sides, and it's an extended part of the mountain. How did that vision, how did that idea, how did that manifestation come about?
You know, beyond the mental, it was in our need for beauty which belongs to that space.
Right.
The place was defined in one go, whether it was the architect, whether it was Tara Didi, whether it were the others working on it. It came with a lot of clarity, almost as a vision for the valley.
Right.
Usually when we build, we have many options. But here it was as if we were being led. Because what Prabhu's Thal, as it is called, it's next to Guru's Thal, which Kurban Bhai had made. It was supposed to be holding the sacred relics of Sri Aurobindo.
Right.
So when I look back, because I'm not a very mental as to what, how, but to answer your question, it was predestined. That this is the spot, this is the space on which the play and the benevolence, we only had to be sincere to listen to that voice. Otherwise, 5 people deciding, there's always, we can do it here, we can do it here. But it was almost a moment of harmony. It was almost a moment of unification with a lot of sincerity towards holding the space in reverence, holding the space as one which will be the center to guide us.
Right.
Construction had started beginning in Madhuban many years ago. From 2010-11, I have been party to it. And every 7th June was the mandate to create one more building. Building with a soul. So when the relics came in 2014, the work here had actually started around 2013. There were many difficulties. Like with any normal construction. But it was as if the labor issue or the wood not coming on time, the glass being different. But somehow they were not difficulties. They were only areas which came up and vanished. The problems vanished. So what we see now is not just a meditation space. It holds the sacred relics. And I have personally, in all these years, felt the grace, felt the atmosphere changing there. So the place was chosen. The place became what it is because of that tapasya, which Madhuban has it in its DNA. And for the master to come there. From 6th June 2014 to 7th June 2014, we had put the relics there. And the atmosphere was surcharged. Not just with devotion, but somebody holding us. Somebody being there for us. So sometimes the place chooses and sometimes the chooser chooses. But it had to be there. The glass came and we realized that maybe it is the pathway of the birds. And then from somewhere someone came and gave us some stickers, transparent stickers to put it. Because in all that aspect of being open on three sides, there was also a euphoria of human greed. Can we make it more curated? But because we were listening deeply to the birds and we realized that this is the pathway, we had to add those touches. Who was leading us to do this? Who was asking us to do it? So we are very grateful that the place is beautiful, but when we enter, the physical beauty and the inner beauty somehow gets facilitated by each other. When you have somebody reading the Savitri there, or when Tara Didi decides to read a poem, or we have others who want to do things, they happen without the need of mics, without the need of paraphernalia. It's small, it's quaint, and it's a gift to us. It's a gift I am very grateful for. But it's Mother's rhythm of perseverance that it just came. So sometimes when we make a space, is that space being made by us? That is the question.
Right. I have many follow-up questions coming. Let me begin first with this. You mentioned that when a space is being made or a project is being done, is it really being done by us? And that's quite central to yoga. Bhagavad Gita talks about it. It's the very foundation of integral yoga. And then you also mentioned the two architects who did this work. They didn't take any money. It's also really the foundation of the experiment of Aurobindo, where the entire dimension of inheritance from parent to children, that is redesigned. Mother says you come to Aurobindo for the joy of no possession. And you work for the joy of working. And I see in your journey two things that I want you to particularly focus on, also from the perspective of a young seeker who's just starting out on the path, wanting to find out one's path, wanting to find out the meaning and the purpose of my life. How can I make best use of this instrument of mine? Somebody who wants to give, wants to serve, doesn't know where to start. On one hand, I want you to talk about, because you were talking about listening again and again, and I see in your pathway, because you could be that instrument so she could build through you, and one step leading to the other, because you could listen and this could happen. Because it is really her work. She's the one doing it. And the other thing that I want you to talk about, what is really stewardship? What is really trusteeship? Because sometimes we can fool ourselves also. For instance, legally, the house in Aurobindo, legally it doesn't belong to me. But I've seen in myself, sometimes you get attached. You feel, no, this is mine. It's more psychological. On paper, one can make changes, but it really has to be on the inside, that one really sees it. This is Mother's home. I come and live here. And, when I go Somebody else comes and lives here. And there is such a joy. Like every time I come out of Auroville, somebody or the other is house sitting. And I really delight in the fact that, oh, how this beautiful house is benefiting so many seekers to experience Auroville deeply. So, on one hand, I want you to talk about, in a certain sense, your process of living and finding your Swadharma, because a lot of time people make it into very mental and philosophical a query, but here is somebody who's lived it and who's saying that I'm not mental, but I listen. So how does that work? And second is, what is stewardship? What is trusteeship? Why is it also important? Because there may be some viewers who may say, "Oh, what is wrong? It belongs to me. Why?" And that's also a legitimate question, to just hold space for that. And if one understands that it is important, then how does one really begin to practice it? What are the different stages? And what is the joy of no possession?
When I step back and look at the journey, as somebody who had studied English literature and was teaching literature, I was very fascinated by poets like Wordsworth. When they would write little sonnets, the world is too much with us. Late and soon, we've given our hearts away to a sordid boon. Little we see in nature, that is ours. So I grew up in a very academic world where running away to be a pagan, suckled in a creed outworn, seemed the right thing to do. But it was like abandoning things, running away from the humdrum of life. But when I came to the Delhi ashram with my 3-year-old son, I looked at the ecosystem and saw the calm and the rhythm with which the people were there. So when you choose to be a person who's more than just the physical role, you could be a pagan, you could be somebody who can abandon, you can be somebody who can run away, or you could be somebody who can own. Because these seem to be the two paths. You own and then you... But in that ownership, I started with ownership. I thought, here is a place, it's like a karma bhumi. There is all the support from the Delhi ashram. It couldn't have happened without the support. Not just the material support, but also the holding on to learn new things. I came as an owner. And I'll tell you a story. It's an incident. I was there, Kurban Bhai was still there. And one day, in all my doing things my way, I went to him and said, "Why have you given us this place? There's so many problems." He did not say a word. And he just said, "Bitya, let's go for a walk." We went for a long meandering walk to the nearby river. And there he said, this place, of course he spoke in Hindi, I'm just translating it. This place was given by Qurban Hussain to Delhi ashram. Now he's not saying, I gave it. And the Delhi ashram gave it to Tara Didi. But it never belonged to the Delhi ashram. It never belonged to Qurban Hussain. And then Tara Didi gave it to Anju Didi. And post saying this, he was quiet. I was still seething with anger because I could not, in my mind frame, understand, and he was not engaging with me to answer me. It took me 6 months. By that time, Qurban Bhai had gone to Dayanand Ashram, Rishikesh. The Delhi ashram had bought more land. That meant more problems. We had bought more land to consolidate the place. It was 6 to 8 months, almost 9 months, like a rebirth, that I realized what Qurban Bhai had told me. I had to be a custodian, not an owner. Because the owner has that sense of not just possession, but also a way of doing things. But to be a custodian, you're not alone. Not just your language changes. Your whole being and becoming go through a shift. Because now you don't feel fatigued. There are others. So this whole aspect of running a spiritual space as a corporate office is one thing. But running it by standing to listen, to do, with the community around you also being stakeholders. Because there's a path. It's not the sunlit path for the sake of calling it. Beyond the words, beyond the language. It's a space which is for people to come and discover their own inner equanimity. The goodness of their own hearts. So in that sense, it's not even detachment. You're very attached to doing things. But you're attached to doing things as a custodian. You don't detach yourself by saying whatever mother will do, we'll do. Because the mother is also there holding you, but the action has to be a collective action. So in many ways, it runs like an institution. But that institution has, as I felt, all the powers of the mother. If you are not grateful for what is there. So people like Qurban Hussain, people like Tara Didi, because she's lived with the mother. Qurban Bhai has lived there for 40 years. They had an automatic, natural propensity to be pure souls. I was coming from a background of being someone in the outer life. I had my titles. I had the play of ego. And that question got answered. It took nearly 9 months. And nobody answered it. I just felt very easy that I'm not alone. And that made the difference. So I don't know whether I'm answering all your questions the right way. But all I'm saying is, there are moments when we can have a pause to see and add meanings to one's life. And I think as a seeker, somehow that ability to look at the larger picture is a gift that the mother has given. And the sense of possession changes to a sense of learning. It's not permanent. It is evolving.
Right. I really loved one thing that you said. When you really experience yourself as a custodian, you don't get fatigued. I feel that is really, really profound and very deep. Because, like Mother speaks about the process of individualization. First is the formation of the ego before the ego is given and surrendered. So I feel in the beginning that process of ownership is there. And that's also good. It's better than not taking ownership. But the crux is in taking not 100%, but 200% ownership. Ownership not in that sense of possession, but at the same time inwardly being free. And then what you spoke about, your realization that it's actually collective. I'm not alone. That being the key of being a custodian. I feel these are like very precious, priceless insights that can only come from aspiring to live. I want to come back to the other question that I had asked you, but maybe this time we can hear about this journey a little bit from your childhood. Because one of the biggest questions, especially young seekers dabble with, is what is the purpose of my life? And many times it becomes like a philosophical question, metaphysical question. Other times when they get attracted to a spiritual path, then it starts going in the direction of sannyas, of making you detach more and more from the world. And sometimes it becomes social work. But in social work also, we're finding more and more people are burning out.
Yeah.
That yes, they are contributing, but they're realizing that there has to be something deeper than that. So I want you to share your journey and then speak to that young seeker who does not want to just live for the sake of earning money, name, fame. That seeker is very clear. No, that's not why I want to work. I want to make the use of my potential at the service of something higher, at the service of something nobler. First, your journey, how did it manifest for you? And then maybe a more direct answer to that seeker. How do I begin, if that's the question of the seeker?
I grew up in a very liberal home where my father was a scholar, but he also read the Gita every day. My mother used to read the Ramayana. My maternal grandfather, who was also living with us, used to give discourses on the Ramayana every evening. So the atmosphere, and I went to a very Christian Catholic school.
Wow.
So in the environment, there was the church, there was the Ramayana. There was an environment of something more than what food and clothes were giving to us. However, besides all this overt happenings around me, there was my paternal grandmother, a former teacher who had seen partition, who was a real spiritual being in her essence. The way she cooked was with thrift. The way she served was with love. The way she distributed the food to many neighbors was not coming from a position of the haves and the have-nots.
Right.
So within the means, she could create abundance. I think that had an impact on me very early. That it is not about doing and telling others. It is in that quietude of knowing I'm not alone. There are other mouths to feed. There are other people to take care of. But essentially, again, the theme of I am not alone. Because she was also held by her community. So this aspect of not just seva, but to belong beyond what seemed like an action of seva was something I inherited. And when the Delhi ashram gave me that opportunity, I could have stayed in Delhi. My house was close by. My husband, my children were all close by studying. But somehow I feel now in hindsight that mother was preparing me to go to the hills, not just to build Madhuban, that others could have built and have built. It was like a space of learning for me. You know, it's like peeling my many layers.
I also want you to speak about your journey, because you spoke about childhood and then Delhi Ashram gave the opportunity.
Yeah.
Between that, what was the journey? What were you dissatisfied with? What were you seeking? How did you arrive at the Delhi Ashram? That journey also a little bit.
So, growing as a child, and then because one grew up also in an academic scholarly home, so passing the university with flying marks, now I look at it, getting a job as a university professor, teaching. But yet, there was something which was woe within me. I was seeking more. The money was there. I think the comfort was there. But I was seeking something more. And in that seeking, we came to the Delhi ashram to put our firstborn, who's nearly 39 now, as a 3-year-old, to put him in the ashram school. So there is the quest within to want more out of life for the youngsters, but also have the patience of Sri Aurobindo, the perseverance of your own self, to open yourself. And I look at that the mountains were ascending aspiration for me. So when I went to the mountains, and I'm sure each one of us, if one opens oneself, believe me, there is something holding each one of us. Sometimes in the confusion lies the answers. So it is not that you're abandoning. So I had a husband, I had children. But there was also the quest, not just to be Alice in Wonderland, but to find my inner equanimity. Not just the outer. So I was not running away far from the maddening crowd kind of a thing. But I was seeking something as to who I am. And that, I think, came from the atmosphere in which we grew. So when I look at young people, I'm nobody to tell them. They will make their own journeys. But if we can have faith that there is more. I think that faith held on to all my aspirations. So I wasn't ambitious, but I was aspirational.
Can you distinguish between aspiration and ambition for our
Ambition
audience?
can be, both are very similar, but they're very different also. Ambition can be very personal. It's something like ownership. It's me and my journey, my aim.
Right.
But an aspiration is my aim of life, but also in a system where there are others. So you take a lot with you, but you also walk with a lot.
Right.
When you go, especially if you go to the mountains, you realize what is aspiration.
Right.
It's very difficult to walk the mountains.
Right.
I came from a background where I had polio as a child. And for mother, through her instrument, Tara Didi, to put me in Madhuban, was also for me to give up my limitations.
Wow.
So when you look at aspiration, it holds you. I could walk. I could climb. And now I have to tell people that I had so and so difficulty. I still have a weak leg. I still fumble. But I have overcome that inner fear. So when I was young, there were fears. But there were very clear convictions for choices. That I do want to have a grahasth. And Sri Aurobindo's yoga is about grahasth yoga. It's not about giving up. It's not about the afterlife, seeking salvation in outside life. It's something that holds you to add layers and layers of meaning to the meanings you hold in your narrow frame. But it also helps you articulate the inarticulate within yourself. Because I was hiding while I was working at the college. I was just being a good mother and a good wife. I was not being true to myself. I was restrained. I had the role models of what I had seen. But my partner helped me. So in this path, you are never alone. But how do you articulate? You can run away, or you can go and discover another layer to yourself. Our education system gives us a lot of degrees. I too got mine. But I'm happiest being Anju Didi with no other title. Even Anju is good enough. Because I have received much more than I have given. And that's my truth. I have received much, much more than I could ever have received. But yes, there is a financial management. And Mother has spoken so much about money. I grew up in a home of abundance. I had to be frugal here, like my grandmother. I had to recycle stuff. The beauty of Madhuban has come out of recycling, reusing. The Delhi Ashram would just send us furniture from I don't know whose home. But we could come, and because we had that inner eye for detailing, because we had that commitment, we could co-create with many other people. So I'm a little shy of saying I, but I'm saying we. Because Madhuban has come out of a collective. Sometimes it's okay to be in front, but then your ego starts playing. You become bigger than the cause. So how do you turn into a we, and especially for the youth? If they come to a place like this for a pause, with nobody telling them what to do. I've had hundreds of youth coming, not telling them what to do, but listening to them, asking them. And when they discover what they want to do, their magic has helped Madhuban. Whether it is our computer lab, whether it is our training the village peer educators. A lot has happened because each one of us has a subhav, but also in that subhav, there is something to give. There is something to do. And I've always felt that when I am critical of somebody, that rests most in me. The folly lies most in me. So I can be an activist, I can be a rebel, or I can seek myself to begin with, and then give it to a larger community to unfold it. So when we look at the mental, when we look at the vital, we look at the psychic, it's also the inner mental, it's also the inner emotional of the vital. It's also the hues of the light within. All these open up. It's like little chinks in the armor. So you see yourself, when I say adding meanings, you see yourself as more. You see yourself as part of a larger creation. And man is the paragon of all animals. So this whole aspect of transformation and this aspect of something higher comes only when I find time to know who I am, to discover myself, not through the lenses of what society has told me. And that's all that youth, they need a space for a pause. They don't need to be told what to do. And I always say this, I learn from you. I don't know if this makes sense to you.
No, it makes a lot of sense. One thing that I see in your journey, you had mentioned in the middle about the power of faith. And if at all one has to give a message, it will be to have faith. I find it extremely telling and very beautiful that, you mention it. Since when I see your journey, there's been an incredible amount of faith. When you let go of that job as a reader, that time perhaps you did not know what Mother has in store for you. You had no idea that, something like such a once-in-a-lifetime project like Madhuban will fall in your lap. But at that time, you're like, no, this is not, where I am aligning. So no means no. That clarity of what is not wanted helps you jump into uncertainty with that rock of faith. And I feel, there is this in the Bhagavad Gita, there is this line which says that whatever is the faith in you, that is whom you shall become. So what I also see in your journey is step by step and unfolding also. To give you an example, I'm sure neither you or anybody around you would have ever imagined somebody as soft, somebody as, aesthetic, as academic, will ever be required to do the mason work, Once you mentioned that your husband lovingly calls you as the head mason of Madhuban. But that is Mother's magic, that, when you have faith, she really builds you. When you're faith, you're receptive, you're sincere, she really builds you. Like Sri Aurobindo says that, I wasn't a poet, it's the divine Shakti who made me one. I wasn't a philosopher, it's the divine Shakti who made me one. So to have that faith and take that one step at a time, and that journey begins to reveal itself. I have many more questions coming, but perhaps we'll ask this one. I heard you speak about the word harmony several times. And even the vibration at Madhuban when you go, you feel like it's a very harmonious space. I feel that is one of the core qualities, almost like a palpable quality that you feel in that atmosphere. And I feel that is what reverberates, resonates as your being also. Even the example that you mentioned, that when somebody is bothering me, I need to look within.
Yeah.
That again, I feel comes from a very, very deep need for harmony. Harmony, Sri Aurobindo in the Life Divine also says, is the ultimate aim. All problems of humanity are essentially problems of harmony. And in many ways, Madhuban has played that role of bringing harmony between the different villages with which Madhuban works around, between the people who come and visit the mountains, with the nature, with the villages, taking everybody along. In a very practical way, from your own lived experience, perhaps with a few stories, some examples, what is harmony and why is it so important?
You know, harmony can be a very mental frame. But when you act, there is you and there are others. And the moment I look at the others also as voices which are needed by the ecosystem. And that's also a shift you have to make, which somehow could be made. A very small example, you go with your own idea of how a building should be made, how the food should be cooked. But there is already a mason there who has years of experience. We are sitting with the architects, and the architect is coming from Delhi. They have some ideas of the buildings, but it's the mason who's not got the ability to speak in the meeting. And when we would walk out, I would say, "You were quiet, Bhaiya. What were you thinking?" And he would say, "Didi, this will not work. The hill will not be able to take this." And also there is a water body there. There is a jharna there. If it is made, it will fall. So harmony is also an act of balancing. Not that my architect is right or wrong, or my head mason is right or wrong. It is bringing them together. It is bringing them together. And that's how I think I learned from the Delhi ashram. And I think when I look at what Mother built in Pondicherry, she would, and I was constantly reading and seeking inspiration as to how to work on this mental harmony. Because in harmony, if you look at Madhuban, when the tulips go away, another plant comes. Hydrangea is there, then the magnolia is there. So in nature, in that ecosystem, there is harmony. There is collective harmony. But in human nature, it is something that we have to not just aspire, we have to co-create. The food, different kinds of groups come there. They have different dietary needs. You can't please everybody, but you can do a basic this thing of what your main cook can do. And sometimes when you love them so much, they'll come and say, "Didi, can you teach us this? Or can somebody come and teach us this? I don't know that." So everybody steps down from their high horse of "I know it all."
Right.
And if you go deeper into Mother's work, she has talked of this harmony within and without as a power to work with.
Right.
It comes with a lot of sincerity. It comes with a lot of humility. But it also comes with a lot of personal gratitude that you also know. And can I respect you?
Right.
So, harmony is not something which you stick as a label.
Right.
It also made me see my own harmony with myself.
Right.
I had come not like an ashramite.
Right.
So initially when I saw all the calm and I saw all the peace, and then when I stepped in, I saw underneath the peace, underneath that harmony, there were a lot of other things. And those had to be worked on,
Right.
both within me and outside. So it's not a picture that you painted it and it stays like that. It is continuous work.
Right.
And as Tara Didi once told me, and I'm using her, she said, इस काम में अगर आए हो तो स्वाहा होना पड़ेगा. It's like a phoenix. You have to go into the ashes. And the phoenix who comes out may not be you. It may not be you. It'll have some essence of you, but it'll be a different.
Right.
So, harmony is not just understanding. Harmony is more a choice of my inner calm for myself. And that, as a seeker, for me, has always been important. I don't run away, I don't walk away, but I don't engage also. Because I do trust that what the others are doing also will manifest. Maybe not in the way I am thinking. And it has manifested many times.
Right.
In Madhuban, there are so many people who have contributed to it.
Right.
So many people have come, so many people have gone. So it's not a lone journey of either one person or another person.
Right.
And when I was wanting to step back, I realized that my ego was going to be playing more. Because the others outside start looking at you as the one who's doing it. And sometimes you waver and you play along that.
Right.
So harmony within for myself was
Okay.
again coming out of faith that the mother knows.
Yeah.
This place will go beyond.
Okay.
This place will grow beyond one instrument. And this instrument also has a journey ahead. It has a journey ahead. So sometimes your work is over.
Yeah.
But is your attachment over? Is your love over? What you've seeded will grow in its own time.
Right.
It will also grow in a different way.
Right.
So in that sense, I was seeking harmony within.
Right.
I was seeking myself.
Yeah.
And I'm still seeking.
Yeah. I think what you said is extremely, extremely important to understand. And I'm really glad that you really said it in as many words, pinpointed it is harmony within. Because a lot of times I feel it's easy for seekers of harmony to get lost in trying to keep everybody happy, people pleasing, putting everybody's needs first. And what I see in you is a harmony which is first and foremost about harmony with the divine.
Yeah.
And
Faith.
from there,
Harmony
yes.
which is based on complete faith that I am her child.
Right,
And that she tells you.
Right.
She nudges you.
right,
She has her way. You just have to be receptive.
right. And I feel it is because of that faith, that harmony and courage, when I look at your journey, very seamlessly blend. otherwise, sometimes it feels like, oh, the part of me which wants harmony, wants to please my family, wants to please everybody.
Yeah.
And the part of me which wants to leap, the courageous part of me, wants to rebel. But the reason why, when I hear you talk, these two never feel like contradiction, like two different forces. The fact that, even as I asked you a question about harmony, but you're talking about stepping back. So you're not talking about stepping back as a courageous thing. It's an extension of that same quest for harmony. I feel that is very, very telling, and that is a big highlight that comes. Again, I have a lot of follow-up questions coming, but I do want you to speak about two things before we close. One is, because every time I've met you, you've spoken about Kurban Bhai and Tara Didi. I know it is a very difficult question. You've had years of being with them, being nurtured by their presence. But one core learning, maybe with a little story if it's possible, with Kurban Bhai and with Tara Didi, that we can also, all of us, learn from. So that I want you to think of which story you want to share. The other thing I want you to share about is Madhuban is definitely a very beautiful, meditative, sacred center, but it's also actually doing very active work in the villages around.
Yes.
In fact, recently, a friend of mine was showing me a very famous vlog. And in that vlog, they were going through some school in the hills. And in that vlog, they mentioned that the money has been donated by Sri Aurobindo Ashram Madhuban. And because that person knew, I am aligned to Sri Aurobindo. So he was like, do you see Sri Aurobindo Ashram, Sri Aurobindo Ashram? I said, yes. Anju, who came 2 days back, she's the one who's been an instrument in making that happen. So perhaps there is a lot of work perhaps Madhuban is doing and has done that perhaps one is not even aware about. If you can share a little bit about the work which is happening in Madhuban right now, how a seeker can engage, whether it is volunteering for 1 or 2 months of summer vacation or a long-term way of contribution, what could that be? Or even a smaller retreat, what are the different possibilities to contributing? What are the different works that are happening and growing at Madhuban? These are my two sort of last questions, whichever one you want to take first.
That's okay. One of the learnings I've already shared about Kurban Bhai working like a custodian. And one story that I remember about him is, on one of his last visits, he would come on the 7th of June. In one of his last visits, I used to have a set of his clothes kept that he doesn't have to carry them. So I would get them washed and everything just before he came. So he could use them. So he asked me to get all the clothes and he said, go and call all the people and give it to them. And I said, no, I'm not giving. Are you trying to tell me that you won't come again? He says, I don't know. So I refused to follow his instructions. During lunchtime, I was in the office working. And when I went for lunch, I saw everybody wearing Kurban Bhai's topi, Kurban Bhai's jacket, people who couldn't even fit in had it here. And he looked at me and said, Bitiya, itne kurban. You see, sometimes that is the inheritance which is in you. That it is, when you share, it multiplies.
Right.
And that's a beautiful lesson.
Right.
That it multiplies.
Right.
What is yours?
Right.
So when I was coming back from Madhuban,
Right.
I too followed that.
Right.
And the joy it has given me, I don't know the joy it has given to others.
Right.
from Tara Didi, all my learning has come from her. My impatience has come from her.
Right.
My ability to persevere and do things has come from her. Because she has led by example.
Yeah.
She doesn't talk too much. She just holds, and before you're talking, she's already walked.
Right.
She's already walked. So I think it's been a privilege to be with these people. But the inheritance that one has to leave now is not an inheritance only of being like this one or being like that one. It is the instruments that the mother chose. She gave them something. She did not give them something. But we all attached ourselves to the mother's work, not making a god. And something that I have often been very wary of, that sometimes these people can become gods. But we are here to do Mother and Sri Aurobindo's work.
Right.
But they're good icons. They're lovely examples. There's a privilege. But the real work is of that inner silence. And faith does not come in a day. You have experienced it. You also have faith in loss. At a moment where everything is going wrong. It's very, very difficult to hold on to faith. It's the most difficult, vulnerable time. But something in you says, it could have been this. So you enjoy in the loss the years that you have spent with the person. So faith comes from an inner self free of doubts. Because we are all doubting Thomases with our education system. We are not taught to trust. We began all this with beauty. And behind beauty is truth. So if I have to say something, then it is that truth that manifests itself. It's something like the Khushali women. Tara Didi gave the name. But it could not have been done without the women. We become Sutradhars. They were the ones who were extending their home routines, going to the jungle, getting the water. They have hard lives. They were the ones who were contributing.
Can you share a little bit more about what is Khushali?
So today Khushali is a cooperative. It is part of the ashram and it is not part of the ashram. Ashram only supports it when it needs to. It holds it. But Khushali today is a cooperative of women with 18 women as leaders. So there are different departments, again learning from the way Pondicherry would do. So there's a department of knitting, a department of crochet, a department for food processing. And how did we begin? We began following Sri Aurobindo's principle of true teaching. Nothing can be taught. So Khushali began with that basic that we can't teach them. We need to understand from them what they know. We have to see what they know. And then maybe bring in the subject skill experts. So Khushali today is a vibrant community. And even this, what I'm wearing, has a story. Because the Khushali began with the schools, the children of the schools. It went to their mothers. And today, each child in the valley, in every school, is knitting this, is making this. At first, the senior teachers there were very not happy with it. But then came geometry, geography, hand skills through this. So when the children weave this in the dye that they have, today they can multiply this and make beautiful garlands for their mothers. So it's an experiment where a marigold today has become a source of livelihood. And a marigold can be in any color. A flower could be in any color. Different people ask us for that. So when you ask me what is Khushali done, it has given me and many like me a space to not just give to others, but to marvel what all we can learn. So when I do crochet now, it is meditation.
Right.
When we are working, so integral yoga in the ashram scene, especially as we have learned from the Delhi ashram, is more about the congruence of thought, feeling into action.
Right.
It cannot be just at the realm of thought or feeling. It has to come into action.
Right.
And when it manifests as an action, then the beauty, the joy, all gets woven. And sometimes to fit in, initially when I went even to Khushali, the women thought I was a globe-trotting woman dressed up in a particular way.
Right.
But the simplicity which I've learned from them is priceless.
Yeah.
They have something to give to us. So we cannot do social work. They have a lot to give. It's
Right.
just that we can work on reading circles with them. We read about education. We do the Gayatri month, Sri Aurobindo's Gayatri month. We do certain acts to begin, certain acts to wind up, circle times. But when a woman breaks into her own rhythm,
Right.
she's breaking from the valley of divine love. She's actually coming from the valley of divine love.
Yeah.
So there is, without quoting Sri Aurobindo or the mother at every moment, we have tried to imbibe their wisdom and follow that.
Yeah.
But also adding the local wisdom.
Yeah.
Because that's how mother could bring up the ashram, different hues, different problems. But at the same time, the fulcrum inside is that of, I'm there. I'm there. And that is faith. Even in the toughest time, I've experienced it, I've lived it. And only when somebody experiences and lives it, it can't come from a verbal
Right.
conversation. But I hope people know that
Right.
they are more than what society has defined them to be.
Right.
They're definitely more than that.
Right.
Or their home has defined them, or their circumstances have defined them. They have a spark
Right.
in everybody. And as man is capable of that, from the stone to the animal, there is more. Man is capable of that. I have faith in oneself. Again, if I talked of harmony with oneself, faith in oneself. Am I operating from my conviction, or am I operating from my compulsion?
I think that's a very beautiful way of putting it. Faith, harmony, listening. These are, I feel, the three words that I am taking back home from this conversation. And many, many other insights that really broke something open And they were not theoretical insights. They came as insights because of your aspiration to really live and walk the path. Whether it is that when you're really a custodian, then there is no fatigue.
Yeah.
Or how you talked about the collective,
Yes.
that it is we. And how simply you define harmony as really asking and really listening and flipping the
Yes.
concept of social work, that we go there in order to do something good for the society, flipped the other way around. No, there is a lot of wisdom.
Yes, there
Are we ready to hold space? Are we ready to receive?
So can I give you this from the Samadhi?
Yes.
So this is for you.
You. I think coming from somebody who has been an instrument in building Madhuban, this is very, very precious. I also have the other flower that you had given to me at Oro University from Madhuban as well. So with that, we come to a close of this podcast.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you for...
I have not built anything. Honestly,
Yeah, it
many
is...
people have built it.
Yes.
I'm just was there, not built
Right,
it.
right. Now, most certainly, I do feel and see that Madhuban is Mother's project.
Yes,
and there's
it
a
is.
reason why it is in the Valley of Divine Love.
Divine. It's completely her project. And it'll go on.
Right,
It'll go on beyond
right,
any of us.
right,
Because the relics hold it.
right,
Please remember this.
right,
I have faith even in that.
right.
It is transient in changing instruments,
Right,
but it holds the relics. And that is the faith.
right.
That those relics were not there without a reason.
Yeah.
So hold on to the image of the relics.
Right. I'm sure you were as immersed into this conversation as I was. We rarely meet an institution builder with a foundation in spirituality, a practitioner, a child of the Mother. Do share in the comments below some of your learnings, some of your insights, so that we can all learn from each other as seekers. I look forward to reading your comments.